This mid-morning, let us master emptiness meditation by practicing insights into the 3 circles technique. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is brought to you by the kind-hearted folks who help support this channel on Patreon. This mid-morning, we could chant and meditate and enjoy a lesson or two, but first, if you love Star Wars and you wish to meditate as transformatively as General Leia Organa on Ajahn Kloss under the guidance she received from Luke Skywalker, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. Good news. If at any point during this morning's live stream you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or how to apply them to your life, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window on the right-hand side of the screen. So, these 3 circle of emptiness contemplations come to us from the Mahayana tradition. I was first introduced to this, so we're going to deal with 3 sets of 3. The first set of 3 was first introduced to me by the yellow hat or Gelug tradition from Tibet. Where we explore the emptiness of form, which is a synonym for body, and mind, and our sense of self. Now, here's the great irony. The objects of contemplation and the sequence of the objects was taught to me by members of the Yellow Hat sect. However, this particular mechanism of using relaxation in harmony with the parasympathetic eliciting strategy of marrying relaxation with our exhalation was inspired by the teachings I received from the Red Hat or Nyingma sect of Tibetan Buddhism. So without any more blithering or dithering, let us play with some 3-syllable contemplations. As we breathe in, we could silently and mentally recite notice form. And as we exhale, we could silently and mentally recite relaxing. Let's do that for a few moments. We switch gears now, same basic idea. We're just going to replace the noun form with the noun mind. So this is the basic division of bases of mindfulness the Buddha mentioned in the conclusion of the Anapanasati discourse, was that of form and mind. Actually, I'm mistaken. I got confused. That's a different discourse. But anywho, so form and mind are the first 2 bases of mindfulness that can be elaborated to 4 bases of mindfulness, which would be circumstance, body, relationships, and mind. That is neither here nor there. We tend to grab onto things as if our existence depended on it. Now, sometimes it does. If we're suspended off a cliff and we're hanging by the root of a tree sticking out from that cliff, then our life does depend on our grasp of that root. But most of the time it doesn't. And so it can be helpful to let go of things as if they simply were not part and parcel of our identity. And to do that, we do not need to rely on scholarly self-talk. All we need to do is play with this simple 3-syllable contemplation. Notice me relaxing. Most of us are the heroes of the story that we tell. And if we're not the hero, we're at least the victim. And so often when we'll have spontaneous recollections of the past, they will be of people victimizing ourselves. And so there's a way of of contemplating that helps us to let go. And it's very simple. Think about something so the next time you recall, spontaneous recall something unkind, something cruel done to you, either physically or verbally, or just someone thinking the worst for you or wishing the worst for you. Just think about that for a minute, and we'll call that an action. So that action, relaxing. Then think about the person who was cruel to you, that actor, relaxing. Now think about yourself, the recipient of that act of cruelty. This actee, relaxing. Now, clearly, playing with these 3 contemplations will not rewrite your past. But it could help. It could help us to make peace with what Shakespeare referred to as the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. Now, sometimes, if we possess a modicum of intellectual integrity, we could recall instances where we played the fool, where we were cruel to others. And instead of squandering time and energy minimizing, justifying, rationalizing, or fatalizing the incidences where we were being cruel to another, either intentionally or verbally or behaviorally, we can simply contemplate a different sequence of circles. Begin with that act of cruelty, whether it was simply a cruel wish, a cruel word, or a cruel deed. And then take a moment to consider the person who was the object of your unkindness. We'll call them the actee, the recipient of your action. And now think about yourself in that role of the villain, with the phrase, this actor. And you'll notice we're playing games with prepositions. Before it was this actee, now it's this actor. It's a subtle difference, but it makes a difference. Now, clearly, once again, we cannot rewrite our past. We cannot, and some people don't want an apology. Some people simply don't want to talk to us ever again, and we have to respect their wishes. I was once counseled, when they burn down your embassy, it's time to leave the country. So it's enough that you are vulnerable to your misdeeds and are willing to evolve beyond that, assuming they don't want an apology or a conversation. Before we meditate, let's chant this mid-morning's portion or excerpt from Prahe Vajra's spaciousness of Vajrasattva, or Gara Dorje's Dorje Sempa Nampka Che, depending upon which language you prefer. But don't worry, we're going to chant in English. Together. This insight is easy, so easy, in fact, that it seems difficult. Though all pervading, the continuum is invisible. It cannot be pointed out by saying this is it, not even by Vajrasattva himself. This amazing, wonderful display of energy, spacious by nature, transcends action. From within all deep knowingness, beyond thought and thinking, these dynamic potentials certainly arise. The energetic radiance of consciousness dwells in all and in the way for, and is the way for all. For those lost in the ignorance, here we go. For those lost in the ignorance of competition and clinging. Confused by the obscurations of hate and craving. It is like a medicine in search of a doctor to prescribe what is needed. This set of actions, this mindfulness and meditation, are known by many names, including Zen, Chan, Dhyana, Mahamudra, Mahasandhi, Ati Yoga, Dzogchen, and Trekcho. Despite the fanciness of their names, the actual meditation itself is very easy. What is the key to practicing mindfulness? As we inhale, let us silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this. For doing so, for each inhalation is wired for us to effortlessly access our sympathetic nervous system, which has not evolved to actively concentrate, but instead to merely perceive, and to do so vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. We could perceive sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like. We could also perceive emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. What are we to do with all the stuff we notice? Why, meditate, of course. But how do we do that? During each exhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the word yes. For each exhalation is wired to grant us effortless access to our parasympathetic nervous system, which is wired for both physical relaxation as well as mental release. And take a moment to put my phone on silent mode or do not disturb mode. And so now, whatever comes up, we can release it in harmony with the natural functions of our autonomic nervous system. Whatever comes up, whether it is external or internal or physical or mental or pleasurable or painful or interesting or boring or glorious or grotesque. Come, let's meditate. If you feel that I have earned it, you could type something in the chat window. You could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could share it with a friend. You could even help support this channel on Patreon. In approximately 3.5 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's afternoon lesson and meditation. Until then, may you and yours be happy and healthy. And if you are as geeky as me, this is the way.